Hey guys, this is Echo with Furryecho.com again. I actually wanted to talk with you guys and answer some questions because I get a lot of questions about silicone and molds and what should I use, what kind, and where do I get it, and can you help me please? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I see a lot of these questions on my DeviantArt, on my live journal, and just in different rooms. I notice people asking other people and different groups and stuff, and I thought I'd go ahead and make this video and answer as many questions as I can based on what I use. Now, you don't have to take any of my suggestions. These are just things that I use and what I find helpful, and hopefully they will help you. And if they don't, I apologize, and you don't have to watch the video. But let's go ahead and get started, and we'll jump right in. The first thing I wanted to talk with you guys about was latex. Latex is really silicone is, I think, better to use, as latex takes a lot longer to dry and some people can be allergic to it, and it's just something that is annoying. You can still use latex. Latex is very versatile, and it tends to be something that is cheaper for the average consumer, but average fursuit maker to purchase for their paw pads. So if you are on a budget, this is probably going to be what you want to get, and most likely something that you can find easier than silicone. I have a couple forms of latex that I've used in the past. I've used this mold builder. I don't know if you can see it. It's a mold builder from Casting Craft. Latex that I got from the Monster Makers, and this is the one that I used in my last video. So, the Monster Makers, and it's RD407, and you can get them in small little ones. This thing has probably still got this much latex. I don't even use it anymore, but I still have it. Who knows, maybe one day I'll use it again, or maybe I'll sell it on... So what you would do is take the latex, put it down in a small layer, maybe cover the whole thing, but don't fill it, just cover the sides. Let it dry. It's going to take a long time to dry. Then you can fill it up slowly, a couple days at a time. When you refill it with more latex, it is going to make the one that you filled originally a little wet, so it still takes a while to dry. It can probably take anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to dry if you do it like that. Now, if you just fill it up and expect it to dry, the bottom will look dry if you have a see-through one like mine, and the top will look dry, but it's going to be a little squishy when you touch it. And if you try and take it out, it's just going to explode and you'll get latex all over the place, or it's just going to be a mess, and it's not fun. But you can use latex. I have this hand paw made out of latex. Ta-da! I added a little bit of acrylic paint to get the blue color, and it's really pliable, and you can still once it's on your hand, you can still move your hand around and all that stuff, so it's really nice. So there's the two different types of latexes that I have. The other one you can make molds out of too, but the molds take a long time to make. You have to keep adding layer by layer and letting it dry, and it just takes a long time, and it's just annoying. I prefer silicone because it dries really quick and you can pour a whole bunch of it and it all dries. You can have this much of silicone poured in and it will dry one big brick. The nice thing about silicone is it dries on its own. You don't have to mess with it. Unlike latex, sometimes you have to go in there and go, is it dry yet? And you can mess with it, and you end up getting these little ridges where you picked it up and you tried to see if it was dry yet. And where you were like, is it dry yet? You pick it up and it's not dry, you have to put it back down, and then you get these little ridges. So that's another negative thing about latex. Okay, so let's talk about silicone. The brand that I use is Smooth On Products. Now, this is just Smooth On Products in the US. If you're in the UK, I apologize, I've never bought anything from the UK, but I did do a lot of searching, and I found some websites that hopefully help, and I'll put them in the description. That way you can buy stuff in the UK as well, or wherever it's not in the US. If you're like me, you probably have called Smooth On or gone to their website and ordered this magazine. This is their magazine. You can get it from them for free. They'll send it to you, no shipping, whatever. And it has all kinds of stuff in there, all the products that they have and everything that you are going to want to use, all this wonderful stuff. But if you're like me, you probably also went in there and said, oh wow, there's so much amazing stuff, I'm ready to buy it, but I don't understand this technical specs. What does that mean? There's so much stuff in here that's confusing. What's the difference between mold bags 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 60? What does 10A mean? What does 130 PLI mean? What is 450% elongation. I don't understand. This is very confusing. And that's understandable. Technical specs are confusing unless you know how to read them. I thought I'd offer a solution because everyone says, what kind do I get? It's really, what kind do you want to get? What do you want to do? If you contact Smooth On and say, hey, I need to get some silicone and I don't know what kind I need, the guys there are very friendly and they'll help you like nobody's business. I called and I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on. You know, what can I do? I need silicone. I'm making Paw Pads. And he was like, Paw Pads? Cool, groovy. What are you making Paw Pads? I don't understand. And I explained what they were, and he understood a little bit, but he said, okay, well, you might want this type of silicone or this one or maybe this one, but you're probably going to want to feel them. And I was like, you're right. I really want to pick which kind of silicone. I wouldn't want to spend so much money on a silicone that I don't like. It's too squishy. It's too hard. I hate it. I can't move my hands. So you definitely want to feel them. Good news, that company will actually send you, even if you're, you know, in the UK, I'm pretty sure they won't charge you shipping, but they'll send you for free a sample of anything that you want. You can call them up and say, hey, I want a sample of every single silicone, liquid rubber, whatever that you have. Give me all your mold stars. Give me samples of all of your dragon skins. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just go to their website. You'll see it's different kinds of silicones and different kinds of plasticky stuff and whatever. And what they'll do is they'll send you in this little baggie all of the samples that you want. I don't actually get them from the company Smooth On. I get them from a distributor that sells Smooth On products. They are Reynolds Advanced Materials in Dallas, Texas. And you can actually go to their website and they have pretty much the exact same stuff in their magazine that the Smooth On. They sell the exact same stuff. The only difference for me is since I'm in Austin, Texas, when I called Smooth On and wanted to order some stuff, they said, hey, we have someone who's a couple hours away. Why don't you call them? And I called them, and they send you samples as well. Almost all of the Smooth On distributors will send you samples, and it's free. You don't have to pay for the samples. So if you're in Florida or if you're in California or wherever you, call Smooth On, see if there's a distributor near you, and call them up and see if they can send you samples. It should only take them a couple days to get there. And if you're in Austin and you order from close to Dallas, I guess, and you order from Reynolds Advanced Materials, it takes them 1 day to get it to your house, and that's regular shipping. It gets there that fast. How badass is that? They'll send you samples that all come on the same size disc. These little discs here, okay, and you can feel them and judge what you want. And then based on what you like, the texture and the squishiness and how it feels, then you can move forward and purchase it and then make your Paw Pads. I show you a few of the silicones that I use and the ones that I actually prefer. The one that I prefer for molds, making molds. I use this Mold Star 30. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if the camera will focus. But Mold Star 30. And it comes in this little disc, and it even has the brand of the company, so you don't forget on there. Little disc. It even has all the samples come on a little circle thing. So if you want, you could put it on a chain and save it in a binder, or save it on a chain and hang it up on your wall, so that you can have all of these discs, hanging and ready for you to go. I'm gonna make something different. Oh, what do I want? Oh, I like that one. That one feels great. You can pull it off of your chain and go, okay, I'm gonna order this one. A lot of people like using dragon skin for molds too. I also like using resin for molds just because it doesn't get squished and it's really easy and I can throw it around and I don't break it and it's really nice. But I have used silicone for it too. And this is Mold Star 30 as well. And can you see that? Is it too? There. Has nice little texture in there, and this is one of my hand paws. Now these squishy ones are probably not going to be ones that you want to use for your hands. I mean, yeah, sure, go for it if you really want a squishy paw pad, but they're not really realistic. Personally, I like using these ones for noses and other things that you aren't touching with all the time, like your hands. You don't want something squishy that's going to get that could rip really, really easy. These are strong, but you never know. They're a little too squishy for my taste. Well, let's pull up EcoFlex 20. EcoFlex 20, okay, has a nice squish to it. It's really ridiculously squishy, okay, and it's pretty stretchy. Okay, EcoFlex 20. EcoFlex 30, still pretty darn squishy, but not as squishy as this. So, I don't know if you can see that, but pretty squishy. not as crazy flexible. And EcoFlex 10. EcoFlex 10 is kind of on the harder thing. The EcoFlex 30 is a little harder than 20, and 10 is a little harder than 30. And this is EcoFlex, it's a silicone. The nice thing about these though is that you can dye them whatever color you like, and you can order different pigments from that company. So those are those. I prefer to use these for noses because I like having a little squishy nose on the, I am not a fursuit. My nose is just squishy. I like having a squishy nose on the end of my fursuit. That one is just the first fursuit head that I did, and I love him. He'll never be finished, but he does not have any silicone. He is foam. He's not resin. He's just there because I love him. That is not a squishy nose. Personally, I prefer, let's see, either EcoFlex 50 or Dragon Skin 10 for your hands, just because you can still move your hands if you have like a paw right there, and it moves nice and smooth with it, but it's still not as crazy squishy. It still's got a nice strength to it. Same thing with the Dragon Skin number 10. It's got a nice give to it. This one might be a little more harder than I would like, but it's still pretty flexible. These ones I like to use for my hand paws, so those are nice. You can also use a Dragon Skin 20. Okay, Dragon Skin 20. All right. It has not as much give to it. It's more on the hard side. You can use this for your hand paws, but personally I think this is best if you want to use a silicone on your feet, to use a Dragon Skin 20. Now these are just the samples that I have. There might be a Dragon Skin 30, 40, 50 that's better. I don't know. You'll have to call them and get samples and, you know, yell at me and go, hey, I got something better than that. I use this and it's so much better, and that'd be great. I'd love to call them and get samples, but this is what I'm using right now, and I like it. I actually have only used this twice for my feet paw pads. I actually prefer PMC. PMC is not a silicone, okay? PMC is more like a liquid rubber, and they sell that as Smooth-On as well, okay? I have a few samples of PMC, okay? Now, they can be dyed too, but they tend to, even by themselves, they tend to have a yellow tinge to them. So when you add dye to them, you need to make sure that you add, you know, just the right amount. This one is PMC 90. It tends to be the one that I use when I'm making like hooves, and it's really sturdy, and it still has a nice amount of give to it. But what these are is basically like your soles to your shoes. It's a liquid rubber, so that it has just enough give like a normal sole to a shoe would. I don't know if you could see it, but just a teeny tiny bit of give. And this is the one that I prefer to make my paw pads out of, is the 770, because it doesn't get squished under your feet, and it provides just enough support like a regular shoe would, so that it feels like a regular shoe. And if you don't like the feeling of this, because sometimes when you're making your fursuits and you decide to use this, you're adding it to an already thick sole of a shoe sometimes, and it's just too much, and where silicone has a bit of a give to it. So that's kind of nice. Or you would prefer to use silicone because when you walk you can see it, and then when you take a step you can't because it gets squished. So I mean, it's really up to you. Personally, I like the PMC. Now if I'm making a hoof, I like a PMC 90. The reason I like PMC 90 is because it has just enough, I think I already said it, just enough give and just enough clack. And when I say clack, I mean the sound when you smack it against something, so that when you can still get that clack when you're walking around in your hooves. If you try and do like 70 or 80, it doesn't sound as pleasant. This is 70, this is 80, this is 90. This one is a different one. It's still like a liquid rubber, but it's more like a liquid rubber with a cross plastic in it. So it's much harder. It's a smooth cast 60D or 61D. It's also really good to make molds with. So this is a really good product, but I find it too brittle for walking on. It's much harder than the PMC. I don't know if you can see that it doesn't have any give to it, and it's like plastic. But so those are the PMCs. and that is what I use. I hope that this helped you a little bit on the types of silicone or latex that you can use. And I'm sorry that it was so long. And besides that, you guys have a great one. Again, this has been Echo, and if you need anything, let me know. Bye.